Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Sunday's Talking Town. I am your host, the Gov. Looking forward to discussing AFC Wimbledon 1, Ipswich Town 3. Town progress into the FA Cup 4th round, ball number 11. Who do we fancy in the next round? For those eagle-eyed viewers amongst us, you would have seen I pressed the wrong button at the start of the show. You had a brief outro, intro into the intro. So apologies. Not quite sure how that happened, but there we go. As always, hit the like button, subscribe if you're brand new here to Talking Town, and get active. We need you today to get active in our live chat. There'll be a link as well coming at some point, so you can come on the platform and have your say in your own words. But please do get active in our live chat. And if you're watching on catch up, what is it I always say? And what is it you phenomenally always do? FTA, comment for the algorithm. We have got a new member. Michael Kennedy is a new YouTube member. Michael, thank you ever so much for supporting Talking Town. It truly is appreciated. Without the wonderful support of yourselves and many others, we couldn't broadcast. We really couldn't. So thank you ever so much. And if you wish to follow Michael's wonderful example on a Sunday afternoon, please hit the join button on YouTube or head to Kofi, $4.99. Cancel at any point should you need to. You get access to our Discord 24/7, 365. Unfiltered town chat. I mean, what more could you possibly want out of life other than to discuss transfer targets with Crystal Ball Chandler and many other things in that Discord. We've got Nick Muller, not a great game, but we are in to the next round. George H would like Man City at home if they get through. Streaky says banana skin avoided. Afternoon, Phil. Hope you're well. Afternoon, Neil. Hope you're all good. Lots of you filing in. Let us know. So, who stood out for you yesterday? Who really stood out for you? How did you see the debut's brief cameo? Saramento, Burgess off to the international duty. Wolfenden and Fridge partnership there. Would you be comfortable going into the league games with them two as you're starting to? Let me know in the chat. And anything else you would like to mention. The Shire Shark would like a home draw versus Maidstone. Yes, they knocked out Stevenage. Although Stevenage, according to the highlights, had a hat for the chances they couldn't convert. But was that the only upset really of the day yesterday? Let me know if there was another one. Shrieky said Fridge again solid. Dorset Blues selfishly I would love a local draw for me, Bournemouth or Southampton. Not sure how I feel about that, Dorset, if I'm brutally honest. Right, joining me this afternoon is Cruncher Richard Moss. Cruncher, everyone's dancing to the Twanzarbi beat.
Yeah,
is that a new chant that I've yet to hear?
Well, if you were on the terraces yesterday, you'd have heard it. You'd have heard it at Stoke, Gov.
I wasn't.
Yeah,
neither times on the terrace. You won't find on the terraces many times, to be honest. Let's be fair.
Well, true. We're not terraces anyway now, are we?
No, we're not. Never doubted Fridge says was. I just asked the question there to chat. I sort of posed it to you first of all. You know, Fridge and Wolfie started again yesterday together. Axel at right back. How do you see that sort of that three-man team working out moving forward? Would you be happy with Fridge and Wolfie as your two starting centre halves for Sunderland and Leicester, for example?
I think if you look at George Edmondson, Gov, he was really good, wasn't he? When he obviously came in under, I think Paul Cook signed him, didn't he? And then he had that ankle injury, and since then he's never really fully recovered, has he? He's not really got his place back in the team and played regular football. Now, I've got no doubt he can play at this level. He played here with Derby when he was on loan from Rangers. It's just a case of him getting a run of games, I think. And like I said before on here, Cameron Burgess has gone away now for Australia.
Yep.
This is Fridge's chance to grab that place with both hands. And if he plays well throughout January, when Cam comes back, he might struggle to get back in. So it's all about, you said before, and you spoke about Christian Walton and other players. When they get their opportunity to come in, they have to grab it. They have to grab it because they might not get it again. And with Fridge as well, you think there's obviously transfer rumours sort of floating around. So I think it's a real sort of pivotal stage of his Town career, because I think if he doesn't sort of make it now, I think he might fall by the wayside. But look, I thought he was good at Stoke. He was good yesterday, and let's hope he's good moving forward, because if he gets better, the team get better, doesn't it? If everyone comes in and take their chance, this is how you progress. But I think he can play at this level. It's just that consistency of having them run of games, and then we can see what he can do.
Yeah, and of course, if he comes in and takes the chance, it allows you to divert your attention transfer window, which when we'll talk on the two new signings at some point through the show, but it allows you to divert your attention a little bit and not make it that top priority. Another pleasing thing yesterday in terms of that three-man team there, Axel Twanzarbi played a second game in the space of 5-6 days, which is a very promising thing because this is a player we're managing back to full fitness who's had injuries in the past, right?
Yeah, they obviously spoke about it a few weeks back when I heard him speak about part of the programme that he had under Kieran, and then it was the next thing that he was playing back-to-back games. This is the first time he's done it, isn't it? Since he's been here, because he seemed to come in for them sort of midweek games, didn't he? He'd play one, then they'd dip him back out. But yesterday, look, I think it was probably the ideal game, Gov, to be fair. Look, no disrespect to AFC Wimbledon. We went there and we should be beating these teams now.
Well, their manager says it.
Right, we'll talk about what Johnny Jackson said a little bit later because I read it this morning and thought, well, what game are you watching?
Yeah, same here.
But look, Axel showed his class yesterday. Did you know that was his first senior goal? So got on the score sheet. I think if you'd have had Axel on your betting slip, Gov, you'd have made a little bit of money yesterday, wouldn't you? Axel Twanzarbi at any score at any time, because I don't think he was one that many people would say. And when it was a good header. The goalkeeper, yeah, you can question him where he was going, but he was Johnny on the spot, and I thought he played well at right back. And obviously, we'll talk about Brandon Williams. We'll probably talk about Harry Clark later on. There's injury problems and illness with both of them, so you might need to go with Axel at home on Saturday.
I feel happy doing that. To be fair, he did well at Stoke. It's AFC Wimbledon League 2. You're not disrespecting your position, but it's not. It's not Sunderland or Leicester, which are the next two championship games. It's a different kettle of fish. But he did well yesterday. I feel comfortable for a game or two. I mean, it's not really a long-term answer. And obviously, Brandon Williams is unwell. He's not played as many minutes in the last couple of months through injuries, illness. Harry Clark is managing that Achilles. Janoy Donatian is unfit, injured.
Yes, still unfit. I think he's groin.
Okay.
Look, Clark's a bit of a worry because he had that. I get that it was early in the season. They said like when the pitches are a bit firmer, and now you think now the pitches are softer. And I see Kieran said he's had some obviously some treatment. I think like some medication. Now for me, I think we said before, I think that'll probably be a summer thing. He'll go under the knife. I'd have thought Harry Clark. We'll probably be able to manage him hopefully through until sort of in the summertime. Brandon Williams is a real look. There's loads of stuff going around about him, but if we rewind probably about 2.5 months ago, when he scored that goal, I think it was against Preston, and then them games, he looked like a Premier League player in them games. I thought, blimey, this is a great player. Now, the fall off from him when I see him at QPR, and then you look now obviously in the window, and we want to make space in the squad. And I'm not saying he's going to go back, but he's a bit of a luxury for me because he's not come cheap from United. I know we probably won't be paying all of his wages, but you think when we played at Stoke on New Year's Day, you had Harry Clark playing left back, you had Axel playing right back, and you got Brandon Williams there, who's a Premier League footballer sitting on the bench. Now, for me,
this is a question mark.
Yeah, well, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Now, somehow, and Kieran did mention it after the game yesterday. He's had illness. He's had other problems, suspension. He needs that. He needs to get himself fitter because I think against QPR, he looked like he struggled to me. He was blowing after about half an hour. And look, if we can get him up to speed, I don't. If FXT Blues had said that to me 2 months ago, I don't think anyone would agree with that. But I think now, are we wasting a spot? I don't know. It just depends. If between now and the end of the season, can he get a good run of games, Gov, where he gets fit and gets back in the team and shows us all what a good player he is? Because I don't think anyone can doubt what a good player Brandon Williams is. But he needs to be showing it, on the training ground to Kieran and on Saturday and in the midweek when he plays in front of the fans. Because at the minute, it does seem as though we are sort of carrying him a little bit. And obviously with Harry Clark's injury, Leif Davis's injury, we really need him up to speed and fit and firing and back to how he was playing.
I think that's the question, right? The ability of the player is not the question. Everyone knows the ability. Everyone knows how good he can be.
Yeah, definitely.
The question here is how quickly does the medical department expect it to take to bring him up to the levels of the rest of the squad or the levels to start games, regularly. That's the real question here. How quickly can he get himself back to that fitness? And if it is a while, maybe you do look at the window. If it is like a month, for example, well, that's middle of Feb at this point. Are you looking at that window? Are you then? I don't think we're carrying him. I think it's a question that only the club can answer, and we can only sit here and speculate as fans do, really. But the player is there, and I would hate to send him back to Man United if he was a game or two away, 3 games away from fitness, because I think he's a player that you can accommodate.
I think you're going to need him. You're going to need him as well, because nobody knows about Leif Davis. He's obviously injured at the minute, and will he be fit for Sunderland? But you don't know. Harry Clark with an Achilles, so you really do need Brandon up to speed and getting him back where he can be selected, and you're going to get 90 minutes out of him, because he is a good player. But at the minute, it's a bit. We are a little bit sort of in the dark about him. But let's hope that he can get a full week's training. It's good now, Gov, that we haven't got no midweek games for a little while. So we're just having Saturday games, and then you can get a full week's training, and hopefully he can just get over his illnesses and whatever, and just get his head down and play football, because he's a good player.
Yeah, Curate said you need players you can trust, and we have a few that we can't. Not sure who it means. Curate, let us know in the chat who the players you feel you can't trust. Dr. Zach King took a couple of games to get him up to speed. First time, I can see it. I need that again. When he's on it though, he is so good. Joe Cook's starting to sound like Wilshere on and off the field. Ian Davis to Nzabi, decent. I'm not quite sure the injury record from Joe is that bad. We've said Wilshere. I mean, injury and illness is always unfortunate, but it's that time of year. Illnesses are flying around. I've had one for about 15 days, and luckily I haven't had to play football in it. Paul P. If Brandon Williams had done half the things people are claiming, blah, 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 he went back to Man United. Mechanically still wants him here. Never have I witnessed rumours about a player crunch the way I see Brandon Williams. Like, the moment he's not in the team, he's robbed the bank and has been the new star of The Heist on Netflix or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
But he just needs to play football. Yeah, that's what he's paid. That's what he's paid to do. And look, we all want to see him back and playing. And it was interesting when we went to Stoke there, because you're playing Harry Clark at left back, and Axel at right back, and Brandon Williams started out as a left back. Yet now we're not playing him at left back where it was his initial position. So look, we'll have to wait and see what happens going forward. And hopefully, when we get to Sunderland on Saturday, Clark's fit and Leif Davis is fit, and then that leaves a question mark of your 2 centre-halves who you're playing with Wolfenden then, doesn't it, really? You need everybody fit this time of the season. Let's get everybody fit and firing. You
do. The games have come thick and fast, and we're now sort of managing that group. And hopefully, Leif, that's the most important injury we have at the moment, I feel, currently, is Leif Davis. We need to hope and pray that's a very minimal injury, and he's back for Sunderland, and he's fine to, and it's not one that lingers on for the rest of the campaign, because he's such an integral part of how we operate. We've seen that. Missing him for the few games we have missed him for, Rich. Oh yeah, he's a Premier League footballer in waiting, isn't he? We've said it on here before. I think if Town go up or they don't go up this summer, he'll be departing. It was interesting yesterday. If you look at the game, and I can't remember what his name was, the 26th for AFC, the left back. He was man of the match. Mm-hmm. I thought he was a very good player. So look, we'll be having eyes on if Leif Davis moves on. Not anytime soon, but there'll be players out there who we can look to replace him. I thought Cam done all right yesterday. I thought he grew into the game. Yeah. He's still learning that position, Martin. He's still learning to play in that position, because he's another interesting one, isn't he, Cameron Humphreys, at his age now, and we spoke about it on the WhatsApp group in the week. He's not a young player anymore. He really needs to be playing week in, week out, because I think he's good enough. I know Matt calls him the new Matt Holland. He likes the way he speaks. And look, he does speak brilliantly. I see him on in the week leading up to the game yesterday. Cameron Humphreys was in front of the press, and he does speak very well. But he does. Sooner or later, you need to get a 30, 40, 50 games behind you in your career. Like Wolfie did when he went out to Swindon and he played a season there. Now, obviously, Humphreys at the minute, he's filling in for Leif Davis. Is that where Kieran sees him moving forward? Is he going to be, if Leif moved on, is that going to be his position? It's like, I sometimes think of these players when they become utility players, Martin. I don't think it helps them, because you're playing all over the place and you're sort of in and out. And I think with Humphreys, if it was down to, I see he said in the week, he's happy to stay. He's working under Kieran, he's learning. I get all that. But sooner or later, you're a professional footballer and you want to play Saturday, Tuesday. You want to play in games that mean things. And I know, I'm not saying yesterday didn't,
But it's the FA Cup, and you'll see a lot of changes all over this weekend. Every single team make loads and loads of changes. And I think Humphreys, moving forward as a football club, will he be one who gets lost in the shake-up a little bit?
Well, potentially so. And he's 21, which is young, but in football terms isn't. Like, you know, there's an awful lot of, I mean, like Bellingham at Sunderland, for example, you know, Archie Gray at Leeds, you know, these players are young players, but they've already probably got a lot more minutes in the tank than a Humphreys. Not saying he's not going to make it to town, could be lost in the shake-up. I think him playing left back, Rich, is because of Brandon Williams, if I'm honest. If Williams is fit, you don't see Humphreys at left back, in my humble opinion. So those minutes he's getting now, while good for his development, he wouldn't have got. He needs a loan for me. I agree with Paul in the chat where he says Humphreys needs a loan. I really feel this player, no matter how good McKenna is at coaching, no matter how good McKenna is at developing, and he really is phenomenal. I'm still old school. I still believe the best way of developing players is by minutes on the pitch, real time. Wins and losses mean something. Relegation, promotion at stake. All these different things that are all part of a player's development. He needs it desperately, in my opinion, Rich. Desperately.
Yeah, when you look at like where he played last season, he played in the centre of midfield. Well, now he's behind. Look, you've got Morsey, you've got Luongo, then you've got Jack Taylor. You obviously signed Lewis Travis. You've got Dominic Ball who can play in there. So in his position where he did play, he's not going to get any football there. So the only place he's really going to play at the minute is where Leif Davis plays. And I know the Fisherman says he could probably play further forward, Cameron. Yeah, he could, but he's one of these players. He needs to nail down a position, you know. A position.
I think a League One team. Yeah, for me,
I think he could quite comfortably play in the Championship. I don't
see a Championship team.
No, but I agree with Mike there. He does need Championship football. I think he's good enough. But with you, I do agree. Now you're into January. You've got League One teams looking about for players. He could comfortably go to a Derby, an Oxford, any team in the top 6 in League One there, and he could play a run of 20 games, and he'd be an asset for him. Now, he says he's happy.
Well, of course he is.
But surely you want to play, like I just said there. You want to play. You want something to on the line, like you say, winning trophies. And I know Matt Phillips said about Baggott when he went to Gillingham, and Gillingham, that was a crap loan for him. Well, it wasn't, because he was playing every week. He was learning, you know, and he's down in... I think some players, it's like when we've had them players when, you know, back in the days when we started, when your Dobras and that, they went to Colchester. And
yeah, Matt wanted him to go further afield.
Fair play to someone like Corey and Darbo. Now, he's gone to Scotland. He's up there in Scotland. He's moved away from home. You know, you've moved away from all your friends and that. You go somewhere, you don't know anybody. You've just got to land on your feet and you've just got to get on with it. Now, this Humphreys has got his head screwed on. He's really intelligent, but I think he really does need to go and play, because
I agree.
If we get to the Premier League, right, where we all want to get,
when?
Well, maybe. Would Cameron Humphreys be part of your squad in the Premier League?
No,
I don't think he would, because he's not playing at the minute. So in what world would he jump above other players to be a Premier League footballer? Now, maybe I'm getting a little bit too far ahead. I think he's a really good player, but I think he needs to play football, Martin.
I agree. Yeah, I completely agree. Got comments coming in. Robin, an informed Williams takes us up a notch defensively. Need to get him back, starting and contributing. Davis and Williams on paper are good as any fullbacks at this level. ITFC blue forever. Williams comes with a raw aggression going forward and back. If McKenna can focus that, I think he can be a massively key player for us, providing he's match fit. Sean says Humphreys been a solid replacement for Davis, a versatile player. Steve Rice says, where's our new centre forward? Anxiety is ramping up here in Cornwall. We'll come to that in just a second. We've got a couple of questions first of all. Harp says, question for you. Do you think Kieran McKenna has instructed the Dapper and some of those dots not face the ball on corners whilst blocking players? I don't get it. Literally asking for the ref to give a penalty.
Well, that is a real good point there from Harps, because I said about this after the Norwich game, with George Hurst. And when we were coming back yesterday in the car, I went with Craig. Shout out Christian Walton, because he gave Jake his shirt yesterday. It was absolutely brilliant. You know, I know footballers get a bit of a bad reputation. Brilliant.
He's made that shirt?
No, he had his pink goalie shirt on. Jake did at the front, and he's come over and he's given it to him. Now, fair play to him. Look, that's made Jake's year. He was absolutely beside himself. he was clutching it. He wouldn't give it away. But we did speak about this on the way home about the penalty that Town conceded. Now, I've watched it back, and I know it's a ball in the 6-yard box, and your goalkeeper could maybe come for that. Yeah. He was lucky with one before that, Christian one, where he came and he was in sort of no man's land. He got headed over the bar.
Which now, by the way, as a sidetrack, somebody whose main thing has been commanding his area, which is what you've heard on the platform. You know, he's much better at liking. It was very, for me, not good yesterday.
But we'll give him a little bit of a pass because it was his first game and he's hardly played any.
Oh
football.
Yeah.
But as far as the penalty goes, now I've said this before. We do this time and time again. We're grappling. You will see nearly every corner, Gov, that we give away.
Mm-hmm.
The ref will go and speak to somebody before the corners because we're holding. Now, a lot of the times, even yesterday, these players, they are more concerned about the man than the ball. You know,
but that's a football thing, right? Because Stephen Mason yesterday, if you look at the highlights, there is a situation in the box. I can't remember which way, who's attacking, who's defending, but he is being grappled to the ground. The player's not even looking at the ball. He's doing a George Hurst at Norwich.
They all do it. They're all at it. They're all at it. This is not just a Town thing. And you're probably a bit surprised that there's not more penalties given.
Well, you can't. I've been thinking about this because surely is this a tactic from teams because they know you've got two assistants, one's a million miles away and out of play, one looking across the box, the referee. There's two sets of eyes because everyone knows the fourth official ain't looking at Jack. How can 2 eyes or 4 eyes, you know, how can 2 people look at what sometimes 11 10, 11 blokes you can't watch everybody.
No, you've got to have eyes in the back of your head. So look, Jack Taylor, it's a Stonewall penalty. He's got his hand up, but he's not even really looking at the ball, is it, when it hits him?
No.
He's but then we can fast forward to the second half when there's how is that penalty not given for Town? I mean, that's a nailed-on handball. I know it's come up and it's gone off his knee and it's hit him on the hand, but I mean, I see a penalty this morning. It was Dunk in the Stoke Brighton game. He's got his arm up. He's not looking at the ball. It's hit him. I mean, I look the handball rule now, Gov. I don't know it. You know, they keep changing it, but I just think sometimes. Watch the ball, but look, this is not a Town thing. But look, we give away the penalty. We got no grumbles there, and it was stuck away when it was 1-1.
Yeah. Ian Davis says any additions a striker needs to be Premier League ready, or else it's a waste of money. That's the gamble, as Jim Bowen would say. Now we did make 2 acquisitions this week, 2 additions to the squad. Lewis Travers, first of all, Blackburn's captain. We have Rovers chat on the show Friday night. Wasn't happy, which made me delighted because every time
he was beside himself. And I watched another pod. I can't remember where it was. It was another Blackburn one. It was early Friday morning. When you see, this is what I like. Yeah, when you see fans of other teams, like we've nicked probably one of their best players. He's obviously had a falling out with John Dale Thomas, and that's why he's been allowed to move on, and I think he's played 10 games this season, a couple of sub appearances, and it did come out of the blue, didn't it? It was one of them ones where you think, oh, but then you look at it and you think, yeah, that's look. I've seen him play for Blackburn, but I don't really know a lot about him. But then you hear like things about he keeps running for the full 90, he'd tackle his nan for 3 points, and that's probably an area, Martin, that we do need to sort of fill. We'll probably come on to the Jack Taylor chat a little bit because I don't think that's his position at the minute. I think, I think he's a good player and he offers a lot of things. But I think when you're playing with Morsey and Luongo in sort of, they say, don't they, 2 6s? We're playing. They're all numbers now, aren't they? 6s and 8s. Yeah. Now, this is what we play. We play 2 6s. Now, Jack Taylor for me, and you see the second half yesterday where he gives the ball away. He's better facing the opponent's goal, driving forward. There was a couple of times second half he's got away, he's striding through the middle of the pitch. You think brilliant. When he's receiving his ball facing his own goal, which I think that was where the mistake come from, where the chance they had and then Walton saved it. You know, I don't think it's all about learning, and I think sometimes people have to sort of give people a little bit of leeway because he's obviously playing a different role than he was playing at Peterborough, and I think he's a really good footballer, but he's still learning that role. And I think at the minute, I think where we are, and I agree with you, we have probably progressed as a football club really fast this season, you know, and we probably developed quicker than he's developed in the position. So I think we need a ready-made replacement for. Look, Morsey's got a 2-game ban. I think Luongo's on. Is he on 7? So he could get a 2-game ban. Morsey could get another 5. That's a 3-game ban. So I think you did need to plug that position in the middle of the pitch. Look, he's played in this league. He's played nearly 200 odd games for Blackburn. So I know Kieran said about Brenner asked him after the game yesterday, would he be ready for Saturday? He said, yeah, but he needs to learn a few things. But Lewis Travis is experienced enough, Martin, to know sort of where to be on the pitch, what to do. And I know it'll probably take him a few games to get up to speed with the way Town play. But I think he's that natural player who can just sit in that role for Morsey.
Yeah, agree with that. And I think with Taylor, they probably anticipated the football club. I wouldn't have thought being second. I think anyone's really saw that coming. And he could develop and naturally grow into that position. But the club has been such a light, such light speed in terms of where it's got to. Yeah, I think you do need that extra bite. I just wonder. I'm actually more of a question of where does this leave Don Ball? Jack Taylor's a player they've tracked for a long time, developing in that position. Can play as a behind the striker. Where does that leave a Don Ball? Because I would have said, if you had asked me Thursday morning, your midfield, who's more similar to a Morsey and Luongo at the midfield options, I'd have said Don Ball. So if you've brought a player in very similar to a Morsey and Luongo, where does that leave for Don Ball, Rich?
Well, also with him, like you said, I think it was yesterday when you said to Mike about him playing like most of the pre-season, he played at right back, didn't he?
Right back.
He was So but Travis can play there. So I think that might be a case of he might move on. I think he'll move. I think Don Ball moves on in the summer. But if you've got a player who's similar but he's better, and it all depends what other players we're looking at, Gov. You know, I know you've got 25 in there. I think when does that squad have to be? Is it the end of January?
Probably Feb 1st, I'd have thought.
Yeah. So we've got a little bit of time to see. But I think he's probably one who, if a club came in, you know, maybe around the top end of League One, and they're looking for a centre midfielder, I think, yeah, look, Don Ball's a really good professional. You know, he's kept himself fit, and he's just not had the minutes. He's another one he's part of that squad. He come on for a couple of minutes here and there. Yesterday, he played against QPR, but he's not really had, and we've not seen enough of him really to make a really good judgment, have we? Because he played a bit last season, then he obviously got that injury, and he was out most of the season, but. Like we said before, Gov, we're gonna have people move on. This is how you progress. So if you can get a better version of Don Ball, which Lewis Travis is, he's younger, you know.
Yep.
He's obviously fit. I know he's not probably match fit at the minute because he's not played the probably minutes that he wants. But
I just wonder if QPR is a team that perhaps
possibly
short-term loan. You know, he'd been there before, left on fair enough good terms. I believe. I don't think it was an acrimonious split. Why not? You know, short term. See, because they'll be looking for a couple of players to help them in their relegation battle. Maybe I'm making 2 and 2 and getting 5. I don't know, but I'm just looking at QPR.
I think he's obviously
maybe
Sarmiento's your Scarlett replacement, and then you've obviously now got Travis. So I think that's 26, isn't it? Now we've got in this squad. So there's obviously going to be people moving out. I mean, yesterday, Colin, massive Sonny Aluko fan. I mean. Aluko does not look fit. You know, I know he's playing a few minutes here and there in the cup. He's one I would take out of that squad, Gov.
I can't speak because Aluko is not one I would have signed in the summer, as I've went on record and said several hundred times. Didn't understand the contract then. Don't understand it today. But you speak. What do you think?
Sonny Aluko is a really good professional. He's probably good around the young players, but I think. Now, as we move into the second half of the season, and he's only going to play in cup games. Well, come the end of January, when you cut this 25, it gets cut down to 25. We could be out the cup. I know it's the 27th, isn't it? The next round of the cup. It all depends who we draw there. Sonny's only going to play cup football, Gov. So he's probably going to play 2 or 3 more games maximum, I think. So he's one I would. Along with Lee Evans, it'd be another one I'd take out because you've got to look what you're going to get out of them and who you can bring in. And look, I agree with that there. Loans are low risk, high reward. And I think Scarlett was one who is interesting. He came on for Spurs on Friday night when I was watching the game. And he was one now. He would have got some football, wouldn't he? All that time when he was at the club when he didn't play. And now you've got George Hurst's injury. He would have probably come in. But that's just how it goes. But I think as far as Travis goes, he'll be one that goes under the radar. He might not set the world alight, but he'll keep you ticking in the middle of the park there. And if a Don Ball has to move on, fair play. It's Sonia Luko. Yeah, I think we were all surprised. I think I was driving to Manchester. That was when I went to the them awards when the news broke of his new contract. And I thought at the time, bit of a strange one, because I thought even then, was he really going to be part of a championship football team? At what is he, 33 now?
Yeah.
And he was a bit part. And he was a bit part player, to be fair, last season. Even that was in League One, and we've gone up a level. So he might be one of the Luko who maybe goes onto the coaching side. Maybe if that is at Town, or it might be somewhere else, Gov. But yeah, I think you.
I was just surprised in the summer. As I went on
I agree.
Because he was a bit, as you say, bit player in the summer. I didn't, and everyone kept telling me about the championship experience he was bringing, which I thought, okay, fair enough. However, he's not played any games. So how was that experience? In live action, sort of.
Well, I think the only championship minutes he's played is when he came on at the QPR game at home, and that was only because we are really, really stretched at the end of. Yeah, obviously a busy period, and we've got a few injuries. But when everyone's back up to speed and you're going into the second half of the season, I think you want players there, even players out the squad. I want them ready to go. If like a George Edmondson, he's kept himself fit, Gov, and he's come back in. I know he played the odd game here and there, but he's come back in and he's a testament to himself.
It's really hard, though, isn't it? Like for the Luko, for example, because there is no reserve league anymore.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid, I think Portsmouth played Town reserves. They had still had Todrov in the reserves coming back from fitness. Yeah, I watched the Arsenal Ipswich Town reserves. Matt Upson was coming back through injury. Like you used to see these injured players playing minutes in the reserve league to ramp themselves up or keep them at a level. What does a Luko do? Because other than a training game, and that's a training game, no disrespect to training games, you got nowhere to play football anymore.
I know you can. I think they can play a couple of players at the under 23 level, can't they? Overage if you need to. But even
that was the training game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is. There's no intensity or anything to that nowadays. So it is. How do you keep yourself ticking over? Yeah, I agree. Especially when you. Let's not beat around the bush. When you're at the back end of your career.
Hey, I'm 30. I'm 34. 33s and 34s. That's not old, but it is in football terms. In football terms, it's ancient. Let's be honest. Let's be real. Because you've got a shorter, productive life in football. 34 is probably winding down time. Is that right?
It depends. It depends, because if you're playing week in, week out, but a Sonia Luko isn't. So it's obviously harder if you're not playing. So when you are involved, and I thought yesterday he struggled to. I know he came on for 15 minutes was he on yesterday, Gov? I thought he struggled to get up to the pace of the game. Yeah,
I think he did as well. Obviously, another new player who did arrive was Sarmiento from Brighton. ITFC Blues Forever says, correct me if I'm wrong, but Sarmiento comes with an option to buy if we go up, or have I read that wrong? And that is what I read in the original translation.
I thought there's an option of it another season alone. Yeah,
correct. Yeah, I put it on the WhatsApp, didn't I? Because I thought I saw it in the original tweet that was in.
Is he not the most English sounding Ecuadorian you've ever heard? I thought, wow, I'm looking forward to hearing him speak. And then he's like, blimey, I thought he might need a translator down there.
I haven't heard him speak.
He was at Charlton. He was at Charlton when he was a youngster, and then he went to Benfica. Look, I thought yesterday, he looks good. He's one of them players. I think he gives you something a little bit different, Gov. He's sort of outside the box. I think he might frustrate people, because I think he'll do a lot of good things, and then he'll probably do something, and you think a bit like Amari. He's probably a little bit on in his development than Amari, because he's obviously played a little bit of Championship football at West Brom. He's one of them players who's good running with the ball. I think he'll get fouled a lot. I think he's one of them. He'll buy some fouls, free kicks around the box, maybe some penalties. Hopefully, if the referees are kind to us.
Bring Darren Curry out of retirement, shall we then? Because we're going to need a decent. If we had a decent free kick taker.
But yeah, I was impressed with what I see. He was unlucky. He nearly got a goal. And I think, yeah, he's someone who can make an impact moving forward off the bench. He's that tricky player, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do for Town. Obviously, they've recalled him, hoping that he's probably going to play more minutes, because I think he played he had a bit of injury, didn't he, at West Brom to start with.
Yeah, there's actually a really good article posted on Friday, so it's a little bit out of date in terms of where the player might be heading, but it's basically an article with Carlos Corberán's interview press conference, and Carlos Corberán's really transparent in how he speaks about Jeremy Sarmiento. So I would suggest Town fans go and check it out. I think Chris Hall, who was on the show telling us about the player, retweeted it. It's a really good article. Tells you about the time of the injuries and how they were building him back up, etc., etc. So if he can stay fit, Rich, it'll be
that's a good comment there about positive and direct. Yeah. And look, it's all about the end product, and I think we've seen with Amari, he's one of them players. He gets into good positions, but his end product sometimes not as good as it maybe could be. But they're young players. They're learning. And this is why they've obviously been loaned out, because they want them to go and they want them to play, and then they're going to hopefully progress, and hopefully they progress and they help us progress, because it's a win-win situation for us, really. I think if we can get these players in and they hit the ground running, would he play next Saturday? He could do. It all depends if we get a striker in time. Because I think we see yesterday in that second half when Ladapo went. Look, I'm going to stand up for Freddie a little bit here.
Okay, go on then.
Yeah, because I think he's getting a bit of a battering, and he's been a really, really good servant for Town. And I think sometimes people sort of get a bit mixed up with your body language and not trying. Now, I would never put it to any footballer that when they go out on that pitch, they're not trying, because that's their job, and if they're going out week on week and not trying, they're going to get a bit of a reputation. And then who's going to, when these players come to be sold, you're going to think, I'm looking at him. He doesn't look great, he's not trying. I think it's just his body language, Freddie. And I think he's another one who's probably, he suffered through not playing. Did he have the best game yesterday? No, he didn't have the best game. I can't sit here and say that he did. But I'd never say that he didn't go on that pitch and he didn't try, because I think that's a little bit disrespectful. I
agree with that. I don't think anyone would ever say
and
that.
I think, and we've heard some rumours that he might be on the move if Town can get another striker in, and he probably knows that himself. He probably knows that he's not going to be number one. And he's not going to be at this football club much longer. And I think, but we like you said before, all these players we've got a little bit of a connection with, because they've all done something that when we've been watching Town for years, not many fans have seen us win leagues or get a promotion. And that's what he was part of, Freddie. And he scored a lot of important goals. But it's just a natural progression as your football club. You're going to have people fall by the wayside that are not good enough. That's just football in general, isn't it? When you go up divisions, you'll have certain players who will come on the journey with you. I know you like that word, journey. But obviously, Freddie, he's probably not going to be one of them. And when he does move on, I think we all should say, look, thanks for what you've done and good luck in the future. Because Freddie scored a lot of goals, and yeah, big up Freddie Ladapo.
And that's a really hard thing, isn't it, as you develop as a football club, because all of these players, this whole group, has got just a special place in your heart, and you've got such a love for them because of what last season was, what this season has been. But naturally, the players that have got you to what is now second place in the Championship are not going to be necessarily going to be the players that get you to 17th in the Premier League, 15th in the Premier League. You're going to have, as we've always said, players are part of the journey, but then fall away at different points. But it's always hard as a fan to see a Ladapo who has that special place in your heart because he's part of that team. And then you're saying, oh, but he's not good enough. Oh, but he was part of this. It's that.
But then we can't keep harping back to. It's like when people say, oh yeah, we've progressed. Yeah, look where we were. Well, we're not there anymore. That's part of the history of our club now, and we have moved on from it. And fans are very unforgiving. They only look at what's happening now, and some of them they don't really care what happened last season because that has gone. So look, it's a cutthroat business, Gov. We know that. Footballers know that when they get into it. Managers know when they get into it. You know what it entails, and one day you'll be flavour of the month somewhere, and then the next you're out the door. And that's just how football is. That's just fact of life, isn't it?
I've got Optimistic Phil and Stephen Perry waiting to come in. Before I do bring one of them in first, anything else you want to bring up, from yesterday? Any play you want to highlight? Any particular part of the game, etc.? Is there anything else? To make sure I've covered it all with you.
I thought it was a really professional performance. I mean, yeah, we could talk about Johnny Jackson's comments quickly.
Fire away.
What did he say? We were robbed.
Oh, yes.
I like him. I listened to his interview on Friday. I liked him when he was at Chol, and he's obviously knows Kieran. He was at Spurs with him. But when he says they were robbed, where were you robbed yesterday in that game? Now, we all know about Harry Pell, right? He was the man when he was at Accrington Stanley, when this was in the days under Paul Cook, when he had a free kick in injury time and he blasted the ball out the stadium. Now, Sam Morsey, I think he came out after that game and he was quite critical. Obviously, he had a bit of... He wasn't Accrington's favourite player, was he, Sam Morsey, after what happened when... what was his name? The guy we had on here, the owner.
Andy Holt.
That's the one.
Good Lord, that name was there.
He obviously, the off-the-ball incident, and then Sam got a ban. Now, Accrington, right. So, Harry Pell, and I think even when we played him, I think even he was at Colchester when we played him in the Papa John's. He's a big unit. And look, he's fouled Sam Morsey. Fair enough, he's took his yellow card, he's picked Sam up, he shook his hand, right. And look, and I can get where Johnny Jackson's coming from a little bit. When you're jumping, you do have to use your arms, right? I do get that. But when you're smashing the centre half right in the face with your arm, I mean, you leave the ref with no place to go. There was one in the Newport Eastleigh game this morning. I watched the centre half. He done exactly the same. Straight red. Now, it was a red card all day long, Gov. It was. I can't see where he's coming from saying he's unlucky that it was a second yellow. Because on what planet are you living on, Johnny Jackson? No
idea.
He's given the referee. He's given the referee no option. Second yellow card with 11. They're probably still in the game, and it's not as though a league game. We see it Stoke. These teams can shut up shop and they can stick 9 players behind the ball, whatever. They couldn't do that yesterday because they're 2-1 down and they've got to have a bit of a go. And really, Town, we made a little bit of heavy weather in the second half, didn't we? We should have probably had that third goal before sort of the last 5 minutes. And it was still on a little bit of a knife edge when you're 2-1 up. But yeah, I'd just like to, Johnny Jackson. Wimbledon, really good football club. I see that was a record attendance since they moved back to Plough Lane yesterday. Nearly, I think it's just over 8,500. Brilliant football club. I don't know if you caught it on the on the game. They had the mascot, the Womble, was going down the side of the stand. You've never seen anything like this. This is the definition of Tin Pot. He's going along the front of the stand and he's dragging with him a blue wheelie bin, Gov. And then he starts rattling on the lid. Why? Good odds. He starts rattling it. I've never seen anything like it. But look, good football club. Fair play to them. And I did like the striker. Was it number 9? Was it Davison? Mm-hmm. Typical sort of League 2 striker. But yeah, look, I've got nothing against Wimbledon. I thought they'd give Town a good game. They give a good account of themselves. But I think 3-1 overall, if you're looking at that game, it was probably about the right scoreline, wasn't it?
Yeah, I actually thought Wimbledon were quite good value, in terms of how they, how they were playing throughout the game. The red card obviously did change things. That's what red cards do. It changes games. Robbed, no. Unlucky, possibly. I thought they had a couple of decent opportunities, even at 2-1 down, where, different day, they go in and who knows. And I thought the first time, I said this on the Match Reaction show yesterday with Mike, that it was a real cup affair feel first half. 50-50s weren't 50-50s. They were 70-30s in Wimbledon's favour. They were bang up for it. They were hungry. But Town were professional and did their jobs and played their game. And over the years, Rich, we've seen Town teams play down to levels instead of playing their own level. And I thought we were good value, as were Wimbledon yesterday. Some great comments coming in. We've got good to see the one was still picking up litter, says Dr. Zach King. Respect to the club for coming back on their own terms. We'll go with Stephen Parry first. Stephen, welcome in. How you doing?
All right, guys. There we go.
Yeah, I'm doing very well, my man. So, what are your thoughts, feelings? You got 2 new signings. You got a win, FA Cup 4th round. Who do you want? Loads to mention, loads to talk about.
First off, I'll just pick off of what Rich said. I 100% agree with you about Freddie. Yeah, I don't say he's lazy. I just don't think he's up to it. Yeah, this is not a disparagement. I would love him to go to another club, say in League One, and get the feelings he was getting last season. He deserves that. Yeah, and it's not me saying he can't be bothered. Or he did look like he couldn't be bothered yesterday. Yeah, the looked at times were like he was a bit slow to the ball, or couldn't, was just throwing a leg at it. You know what I mean? But that could be a lot of things. Yeah. In hindsight, I thought about it. I thought, well, that could be just because he's off the pace. You know what I mean? But so I don't think he's lazy. Yeah. I think more he's just not. He's not up for the pace. He's not up for the Championship, and I think he's probably better in League One. Yeah. So I think we're better getting a striker. I think we will get a striker. I thought it was interesting when McKenna was talked to after the game. He was mentioning like Broadhead and Chaplin could play as number 9 if needs be. Yeah. And if I thought about it, and I thought, well, quality-wise in front of goal, I would probably rather both of those play before Freddie, because they're probably more clinical than Freddie is right now in the Championship. And if Broadhead played there, you'd have just stick Sarmiento in there. If Chaplin played in there, you could put Taylor in there. So we've got an option that we can replace them with. So I'm not saying that's the greatest option. I'd rather us go out and get a number 9. Yeah, but they're not the easiest things to find. Especially the right ones. Because if you go out and get the wrong ones, then you've just got a busted flush, haven't you?
I think
I'd rather, especially with Sunderland game where they don't really have a striker, I'd rather give it that extra week to get the right one rather than rush out and get anyone.
I think Broadhead will play there, Steve, if we don't have a 9 in by next Saturday. I've got no problems. Yeah, I've got no problems with Broadhead playing in the centre.
Because I thought Broadhead looked lively yesterday. I know it was Wimbledon. You can go where it's only Wimbledon, but he did look lively. Had some lovely touches, lovely flicks. And from even with Chaplin, from the 10 yards out, that's where a lot of his goals come from. Same with Chaplin. Even corners, straight in. Chaplin's there 10 yards out, bang. That's where a lot of their goals come from. So they are themselves poachers, and Chaplin has played himself, as a number 9 for Barnsley. So he has done it before. This would be nothing new to him. So I think we're not as bad as what people make out, even though I do agree they wouldn't have the hold-up that George Hurst would have. But we can bring in a player with hold-up and they'd miss out on other things. They'd have the pressing that George Hurst has. And the guy that you might bring up for the hold-up may not have the pressing. So either way, you're probably going to lose something. So it depends on what McKenna thinks he can afford to lose. Can he afford to lose the pressing or the hold-up? I think he can afford to lose the hold-up but not the pressing, because the pressing is the key to the way we play, and it has to start at the front. So the guy at the front of the pitch has to do the pressing, and I think Broadhead can do that as well, because he does it as part of the press. So he can do it. I don't know whether he's as good at the hold-up, but time will tell him that. On the game yesterday, they're the games I hate most. Because it's virtually a no win for us. No matter what we do, there's virtually no win. Yeah. Unless you come at like 10-0 and it's a classic performance, everyone expects you to win. You know what I mean? Wimbledon can just rock up and do whatever they want. And no matter what they do, even if they lose, they can win. And so it's like, I'm just glad we won. I don't care how we win, how we get through. The game's done. It's one of them games where it's like, it's hard to say there's nothing on the line for us, because there wasn't really. All there was moving through to the next round. And there's so many times there can be banana skins. You saw yesterday what Bristol Rovers did, and that was at their ground. Away to a League 2, a League 1 side, they're such hard games. Even when you saw Paul Cook's game against Watford, Chesterfield was so unlucky. They lost in the last 10 minutes. That's only because they tired out, and that was against Watford. These games are not the easiest games. And I think we controlled the game on the main. You could argue they were missing some of their best players, but we were missing some of our best players. It was a mix and match squad, who were sort of getting into fitness. I was desperately pleased for Axel to get his first goal.
Yeah,
I think that's a big boost of confidence for the lad. He's had a real tough time in his football for the last God knows how many years. Yeah, he's finding his way back. He's now done back-to-back games. He's got a goal. I think he can see a future. And it's only these little things that you take off as a player where you can start seeing that your career is getting back on track. And that would give him more and more confidence. And, you know, I like the way he played yesterday. Do I think he's better at a right back than centre back? No, I don't. But he's comfortable as a right back. I still think he'll be better as a centre back, but he's comfortable as a right back. And I enjoyed the way he played. You know, he has his head up, he's looking around, he's scanning around, he's always looking for a long pass as well, which is quite entertaining. You know, and the new signings, they're not signings I was sat there thinking that we were going to make, but on reflection, the signings that we needed. You know, we all know we're losing Sam for 2 games. We've got Bing, perfect replacement for him. You know, then we might lose more. Then we might lose Lowangu. We've got perfect replacement for him. Then by that time, we might have lost Sam again. You know, we've got a perfect replacement. So it's one of those things that if we didn't do it, we could end up missing 10 games for people, you know. And it's like, I don't want that, thank you very much. That's not even for like half the season, you know. So just for that one loan signing, even if that ever happened, we've expelled that already. So I have more confidence going into the rest of the season just with that one signing alone. And Sarmiento, he looked one of those players where, hey, great, he's going to frustrate you, yeah, but you get your ball for your seat. You know, he's like an expelled version of Carl Edwards. You know what I mean? He's one of them players who'll just pick his ball up and he'll go, I'll do this. You know, you think he should go down there. And he'll go that way. You know, I don't think he's going to fully have the end product, you know, because they're not going to loan him out. He's got the end product. If he's got all the tools, he'll be playing for them. You know, let's not beat around the bush. You know, he's going out on loan because he's deficient in certain things. If he based on the fact that he was doing his tricks and his runs and his turns and it's probably the end product he's missing. So I think we're going to be frustrated with him. But he had a good chance. He nearly got a goal. And like I said, we'll just have to wait and see. I hope he does well, and I hope we get a number 9. And let's just do the best we can. You know, let's not put the pressure on the lads. We're well ahead of where we should be. Let's just, you know, if we end up in the playoffs, we just don't sit there and go, oh, what a letdown. You know, it's not a letdown. These players worked their knackers off and tried so hard to do the best they can. If we end up falling short, it's a simple fact is other clubs have got a lot more money, a lot more spending power. Yeah, we can't go out and spend. Jed Spence's loan was £1 million, and they sent him back after a couple of weeks. £1 million. You know, we'd be keeping him whether he was in the knob end or not, because we haven't got £1 million to throw away. You know, that's the whole point. You know, they're looking at players at £20 million, £15 million. We can't spend that. I know we might have it, but we can't spend it. That's the difference. We can't. There isn't ways around it.
There is.
Guarantee you there's
football.
Most of those ways.
Of course there is.
No, there isn't. Most of those ways have been closed. Yeah. Why do you think Man City got 115 charges? If there were ways around it, Man City wouldn't have 115 charges.
The day Man City get a charge actually against them is the day.
I'm not saying they'll get done for it. That's completely different. That's not the question. They got charged for it. Yeah. The only reason UEFA didn't charge them, yeah, is because the time limit expired because they tied UEFA up in court for 5 years. Yeah. So UEFA would have done them.
Yeah.
The only reason is they kept them in court for 5 years. So after the 3 years, they couldn't do anything about it. So those loopholes have been tied up. We all know what they were, selling your stadium and things like that. You can't do that anymore.
No. Yeah. The only loophole you've got now is spread payments, really, isn't it? Like, so if you sign a player for $5 million,
that's like Chelsea. That's what Chelsea have done. Look at Chelsea, Steve.
That's what you got.
Chelsea, all the players they signed, they're over about 7 or 8 year contracts.
They've limited it now to 5 years.
Yeah, but still 5 years. But you still got means and methods and ways.
Yeah, I'm not saying he can't do it, but I'm saying when someone's automatically got £100 million revenue.
Oh, we're not going. No. We ain't touching that. No.
Yeah, we can't go anywhere near that. So all I'm saying is we're doing very well. We're doing really well. We should be really proud. We know we're going to finish probably top 4. Yeah. No matter what, we should all be really proud of whatever we do. I want us to finish top 2. I really do. And we've got 20 with 3 points ahead. We've got 20 games left. Let's win 19 of us. Let's win 19 of them, and we can all go dancing down the street. Yeah, because we're 3. No, but if that happens, yeah, we can all go dancing down the street. Because let's be fair, there's some games in there we should be winning. Yeah, so there are quite a few games that we should be winning. Yeah, and I think we're capable of winning quite a few games. Yeah, especially if we get back to the form that we were playing. But we just need that. I think that's a little bit extra. You know,
Perfect.
let's get number 9 in, and I think we can do the best. But if it's still not enough, yeah, let's not be too disheartened, because we're building something, and we're building something pretty damn quick.
Absolutely. Steve, as always, measured, balanced, and well put across. Thanks ever so much, my man. And you. Happy New Year to you. I had a great point before I bring Phil in there about Lewis Travis, you know, in terms of you got a ready-made replacement. Hasn't played games at Blackburn. Is this a loan where he's coming to play game time regularly? Is he going to be a starter alongside Morsey? Is it Luongo dropping out? Is he that just that fill-in when you need it? How do you see that playing? Because he hasn't got game time at Blackburn, so I wouldn't have thought he'd arrived to sit on our bench.
Well, he plays the next 2, doesn't he?
Yeah, but beyond that,
well, it's a case of just wait and see. We need ready-made players, because Morsey, as long as he's fit, is playing every single week, and he's not suspended. Whereas Luongo, he's probably the one he might rotate, Gov. You don't know, but he could play right back. Hopefully not, because I don't think that's obviously his natural position. He can actually play there. But you need players who can just drop in. Morsey wakes up on a Saturday morning, not feeling too good. You've got Lewis Travis who can come straight in, and you know what you're going to get from him. Whereas Jack Taylor, it changes your dynamic a little bit of how you're going to play. But Norwood, let's not go there. Don't be silly, Lee. You know, he's starring in the National League at Oldham, isn't he now? But
is he starring? Is he?
Well, he's scoring a few goals, isn't he, down there?
I don't know.
He's doing all right. But look, we've moved on as a football club. We all know that. But Travis, he'd obviously fallen out of the manager. It'd be interesting what happens with him come the end of the season. Because if John Dale Thomason is still there, he's probably not going to go back to Blackburn, is he? It all depends. I think when I was watching the show, and I think was it Dan who was on. If the manager moves on, and then Blackburn might have a new manager comes in, and he might go back there, and he might be back in the team. You know,
we might be Premier League team by then, right? Rich?
Yeah,
he might not be a player we look at because we've stepped up a level.
But if he helps us to get where we're going to go, look,
you can't have that sentiment. If he helps you get where you need to go,
I know that. I agree with that.
Because the Rovers fan didn't think he'd be a Premier League player.
Well, he's 26 now. If he's probably going to be in the Premier League, he probably would have played by now, wouldn't he? But look, he's a captain as well. He's another leader,
character.
You know, which is all good. And it was one of them ones that's come under the radar, and it'll go under the radar playing wise. But he gives you that body that we need in the middle of the park. And I think we spoke about that earlier, haven't we? What he's going to bring to the team.
A couple of comments in the chat in regards to Langstaff from Notts County. What are your thoughts on that? Was that a player you'd be looking at?
Certainly scoring goals, isn't he? He was. Yeah. I think he got 40 odd last season for Notts County. I think he's on 17. Is he this season? He always seems to score, and they've just lost their manager. He's gone to Swansea, Luke Williams, which is a good appointment, I think, for Swansea because he done really well there at Notts County. Would he be one I look at? Yeah, possibly. It's one of them ones. Can he make the step up? But then I think if people can score goals, it's like a Jamie Vardy, Gov. You know, he was not given his chance. He was at Fleetwood in the leagues and then signed for $1 million for Leicester, and look what he done. So they're down there, these little gems. You've just got to. Sometimes it's just taking a chance on these players because they're out there and they're good enough. And would Town go for a Langstaff? I don't think they would at the minute. I don't think he's the type of player that they need. But if they signed him, look, I'd be all for it. I just think we need that. I see George Hurst has had his surgery. I see the picture yesterday, and we wish him all the best. And it's finding that replacement for him. And there's not that many players out there who's probably and if they are out there, there's going to probably be. This is not like last season when we were in January. We're in League One. We're the big fish. You know, we can draw these players in like your Broadhead, your Harry Clarks, and all them. Whereas now we're in a pool with other teams who want probably the same type of players. And I see Kiefer Moore today. He obviously played yesterday. He scored for Bournemouth. There's about 7 teams. Town are one of the names linked with him. It's just a case of number 9. This is going to be the hardest signing, I think, and we might have to be little bit patient. I know fans want they want him in. They want him in before Saturday. And we want him playing. We might have to wait another couple of weeks. And if it is to get the right person in, they'll know what they're doing. Ashton, Mike O'Leary, game changer Kieran, they will know what they're doing, and we just got to trust them because they've not let us down so far.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Paul Pieces Millwall offered £100,000 for Travis in the summer, apparently, which was few, but that sort of amount is likely to get him if you want to make it a permanent. Ian Davis on fire this afternoon. The Travis song makes me want to sing, sing, sing.
Oh, very good.
That's very good, Ian. We've got a question from Sean, which we'll finish the show on, but we'll come to that last. First of all, come to Phil. Phil, welcome in. Let us know what you're thinking and feeling today.
Well, I'm going to say, yeah. Firstly, I'm really glad that we won against Wimbledon in the FA Cup yesterday. I think that was a sort of a psychological morale boosting win before these two sort of relatively tough games coming up in the league. I do want to talk about the transfers. I do want to talk about the players we brought in, and I do want to talk about the way that we may need to adjust our play somewhat, simply because at the moment, we've lost George Hurst. He was an integral part to the way that Town played their attacking football, and with his contribution, we're gonna really miss over the next, hopefully, not more than say three or so months. Hopefully, let's just hope that he's a quick healer. No, but I think for me, just listening to what's been said so far, is that I think that we will get a number 9. I think the attraction for potential number 9s is the fact that our strong position in the league at the moment, and the fact that I think Kieran McKenna is a manager that will attract interest from young players. I mean, that's the mold that he goes for. That's what he likes to go with. He likes to develop and instill confidence in young players. And players, I say preferably, let's say below the age of about 25 is the sort of players that he likes to go for. It's not set in stone that he always goes for, but that's what he likes to go with. And I think we will get a number 9. I mean, and we probably will have to wait maybe 2 or 3 weeks for him. But I think that certainly the Lewis Travis signing is certainly a shrewd bit of business. I don't know how many yellow cards that him and Maz are on at the moment, but what it could mean is that over the next month or two, that he could probably dovetail between Morsey and Luongo, depending on if they do pick up another, I don't know, 2 or 3 yellow cards, and we could see players rotating that midfield. But if we do have to wait for number 9, I think players like Broadhead could fill in for that number 9 role. Whilst we wait for him. I obviously didn't go to the game yesterday. I'm obviously starting a new job, tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that.
Good luck.
See how it goes. Look, as far as the draw for the FA Cup 4th round is concerned, I think my preference would be is that I think a lot of Town's preference would be is to get drawn away at Tottenham, because that we would all have a trip down to the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
I've been
me,
there.
Have you?
Yeah, I've been there. Seen it, done it, got the T-shirt, mate. I saw the Chicago Bears play. I've done it. I don't need to go there.
See.
I don't need to go there.
I'm not into NFL stuff, I'm afraid. I'm not one of those that love American football.
Neither was I that day, Phil. We lost. So
I had a bit of an interest in basketball and baseball when I was a teenager. But would love to catch a sort of a live baseball game if I ever go off to
6 yellow cards, Phil. Luon goes on.
All right. So okay. So he's got a while yet. He probably never free at least another 4 games yet. Hopefully, if he doesn't get sent off. But
I think Luongo will start playing the Jack Taylor role off the bench.
I'm saying
I don't see Travis.
That's the other thing that That's the other thing that I wanted to mention. I'm going to say, I think Rich pointed it out, a bit earlier that for me, Taylor is not really suited to the central midfield too. He is much more of a number 10 for me. And
I don't think he's he didn't play a 10 at Peterborough. That's a totally different role at 10. I think he's an 8. He's an 8, Phil. He's your box-to-box midfielder. Yeah, he's
from midfield players. He's a 10. He's a 3.
I mean, say for me, he's got goals in him, and I'd just like to see him play further forward. That's why I'm thinking it's probably more of a number 10 role. Maybe sort the role that Chaplin plays. That's
another different role for him that he's never played, because he didn't play that role at Peterborough.
There you go.
Well, I think he could play number 10 role. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying we all know that he's got goals in him.
He's not a Scott Twine who can play a 10. He's a midfielder who can get forward. It's like yesterday. You look at the goal he scores, Gov. Sam Morsey is not getting that goal from 3 yards. And Massimo
No.
Luongo's not getting that goal from 3 yards. Probably Lewis Travis not. He's in the box. He's following that in. I was a bit annoyed. I thought Gerrard was going to pop that in. He came off the
So
bench.
did
didn't
he?
I thought, come on. I thought, there's a
So-
tackle for you. Jack Taylor's in there. Thanks
did
very
he.
much. But
So did he.
I think,
Phil, anyway,
I
you
think
know what
Lewis
I want? You know what I want in the next round of the Cup?
Norwich at home.
Maidstone United at home, please.
Oh yeah, and we all have a trip down to Maidstone in Kent.
No, we'll have it at
Let's
home.
go for that.
He wants it
Get
at home. He wants it
Get
at
it
home.
Get it
Yeah.
at home. Another winnable tie. Keep
Yeah, I'm
winning
saying
games.
that's another thing that I was thinking of yesterday is that I'm saying we've already had a cup run and we've done extremely well in the first half of the season. So I think it probably begs the question: would another cup run sort of enhance our performances in the league, or would it be a bit of a distraction at this time of the year? I'm saying that's something that could be up for debate. But I mean, so we're into the fourth round. We're kind of probably halfway to maybe a decent cup run. So there's not many rounds that would probably play in this season. But yeah, let's hope that we get a sort of a lesser league side at Portman Road in front of a packed out crowd.
You say that, Phil, but how many times did we crash out in the third round? And
I
finish
know, mate.
14th,
It's
15th
terrible.
in the
I'm saying
Championship?
we've seen some terrible dross, and you know what? I'm relieved that I didn't go all the way up to Barrow because I'm pretty familiar with that part of the world because I
What a lovely trip it was. What a lovely trip it was.
I went up there every summer when I was in primary and high school with my parents. We go up there, visit my grandparents. They live just outside of Preston, Lancashire, and we'd always go up to the Lake District around that part of the world. So I'm pretty familiar with that part of the world. So I wasn't really keen on doing sort of a late, midweek trip up there in the FA Cup. So
particularly at that time, it wasn't the greatest. We've
no,
come
it wasn't.
such a long
No, it wasn't.
way. We've come
and
such a long way.
look, I would say even in the summer, even in the summer up there in the northwest, it rains every fucking day. Sorry, excuse my French. It rains every day in August. It really does. It really does. I mean, so we went up there one year for I think 14 or 15 days, and it rained.
They're flying.
On
Barrow are
13
flying this season. Pete Wild, what a manager. What a job he's doing at Barrow. They could be in League One next year.
Yeah.
Holker Street. I was there, Phil. I was there.
I don't care. I don't care. So what? I couldn't care. We'll be in the Premier League next season anyway.
Good, and then you'll get your Tottenham Hotspur trip.
Yeah,
Phil.
exactly. No, I would say if it's not Tottenham away, don't care if you've been Gov. It's either Tottenham away, and if Liverpool get past Arsenal tonight, big if, that I would want them down here in the fourth round. But let's wait and see. Anything could throw up. It's laughable, really, for me that Norwich were only held to 1-1 draw with Bristol Rovers.
Grant Ward.
That was pretty.
Agent
pretty
Ward.
Fun. That was a hell of a goal that Bristol
scored.
Outside of his boot.
Brilliant
strike.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Happy for
Learn that at town,
I didn't know that George Alacobi was manager of Maidstone until I watched Football Focus yesterday lunchtime. And what a job he's doing down there. Yes, so we don't really see a lot of clubs from the second tier of non-league football make it long. I don't know why that is. I think it's probably the National League Premier Division sides, or sort of step 3, step 4 sides that tend to do, not the National League South.
We don't want to play down there. We don't want to play down there on their pitch because they've got an artificial pitch. I don't think McKenna would be too keen, would he, playing on that? Get him a Portman Road. Get him a Portman Road.
Yeah,
I agree. Phil, got one last thing for me, or you
well,
I'm
gonna say, look, I think the one last thing that I can think of for me is, Kiefer Moore. I'm saying I would like to see him down here again because he would do a job for us. He would certainly get the goals for us at this level, I think, with the service that we can provide him with. And if it's not Kiefer Moore, then I wouldn't mind Jay Stansfield. I mean, say, who else have we been linked with so far in the last week or two? Probably
Danny Ings.
Is he? We'll say, would Danny Ings suit our style of play?
I don't know, Phil. I'm just telling you.
I would say Cruncher. Would he fit our style of play? Do you think?
I see he might be going to Wolves. I was reading yesterday, Phil, and he's on about 125k a week.
What, Danny Ings?
Yeah.
Jesus
ITFC Blue Forever Phil says Phil's starting a new job tomorrow. Announce him now or new number 9. So are you the new striker, Phil? Is that
No, I was never a striker when I played football. I was more defensive. I once this is true to my one last thing, right? I once got a Man of the Match award for playing a Sunday League Cup game for a local side years ago. That Sunday League, Sunday morning football. I got Man of the Match award. I think it was the second round of the Sunday Cup or Sunday Shield or something like that.
Where did you play? What position?
Goalkeeper. Man of the Match as goalkeeper.
Wow. I've got one more thing for Phil. I've got one more thing.
What's that?
Harry Pell, was it a second yellow yesterday?
Well, I didn't know. I didn't know that it was a second yellow, and I didn't know that he'd been sent off because I wasn't actually listening to the game. I was doing something else. I was away in a social meetup.
Unbelievable.
And no, but I've seen the highlights. Saw them on Match of the Day last night. Yeah, of course it is. I mean, yeah, and I also saw the Eastleigh one as well. I'm thinking, what's he doing?
Yeah, he smashed him, didn't he, with his arm?
And my very last thing, did you think Dominic Calvert-Lewin deserved to be sent off?
Don't get me started on that, Phil.
No, I was like, this is ridiculous. I was like,
this is where VAR. Right, I know we're going off piste here, but I agree with Phil there. This is where VAR, they're looking for things here now.
Yeah,
they're looking for things. That is a tackle, and you see when I can't remember who he's standing with, the Crystal Palace guy, and even the Crystal Palace guy, you see him mouth, Phil. That's not a red.
I didn't
see it. Knew. All the players on the pitch knew it. They're all looking as the ref's looking at the screen. I think there's Coleman. I think they're all sort of looking behind him, and you could see everyone who's played the game, and they know that it's not it's not even a yellow card. I would be amazed if that's not overturned.
Well, they have appealed it, haven't they? So you'll either get it overturned or a 4-game ban.
Well, we've spoke about this as well, Gov, on here before about teams in the FA Cup. You can't have a competition where some are having VAR and others are not using it. I mean,
no, it's not.
I know
it's
you
not
get
a
to the
fair
semis,
competition, then, is it?
Get to the semis, and if you want to use it, then fair enough, because you're going to be playing at Premier League grounds. But you can't have something happening at Crystal Palace, Phil, and then something happens at Maidstone in their game where it's not fair.
It's not fair. I would say, should we have VAR in the Championship?
No.
No, I don't. No.
The Sunderland Newcastle game yesterday. I watched it in live at the same time.
I've got a quick question for both of you before we end for that.
But that was so good that the game didn't have VAR. It was like, I hate to sound old, a proper old school game. Tackles flying in, referee's decision was final. Right. I thought it was great.
Question for both of you. What did you? Because I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. Shithousery. I love it. What did you think for the Newcastle having a picture, team photo in front of their fans? They've just beaten their rivals 3-0 away, Phil, and they're having a team photo in front of the Newcastle fans. What did you think?
Didn't see.
I thought it was payback for all the Sunderland fans that put up those banners in the bar at St James's Park and putting the shirt on Alan Shearer's statue. That was payback.
Anyway, we got them next week, haven't we? We got them next week.
Phil, appreciate you coming on, man. Look after yourself. Happy New Year to you.
Good luck in your job. Good luck to you, man.
I was going to finish there with a question, but I've got an unexpected.
Is here?
Yeah, they're here. They're here. There they are. Look.
Hang on, where is it?
Where are they?
Here he is.
Good heavens.
Oh, hang on.
Hey. One's reaching for the red wine, the other one for the Coleman's mustard.
Right,
what's going on here?
I've got a question. What device are you using?
My phone.
Ah.
But we've been watching on Colin's phone, but we're here. We had a very nice lunch, haven't we, Colin?
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Yeah,
Venetia
done a spread, Rich and Kofi. Yeah.
What do you have, Matt? What do you have? You found him in the end?
Matt talked about it.
You actually found him because I did hear reports of you were driving around Suffolk and you got no idea where you were going.
Sat-nav took me like a funny way. Weird.
Who uses sat-nav? You still got sat-nav?
Yeah, I was using my sat-nav in the car, then I went to my phone one, and I ended up there.
You need to use Waze. I've told you this before.
You're sponsored by them. We've had a nice bit of roast beef, haven't we, Colin? Roast beef we've had.
Yeah, roast beef was absolutely unbelievable, Rich. You would have thoroughly enjoyed it, both of you.
Horseradish?
Yeah.
Oh, Matt had a bit of Coleman's mustard.
Oh,
Coleman's.
If you're just joining us, I haven't got a clue what's going on. Me neither. Welcome into Talking Town. Are you both well? Are you both enjoyed the signings this week? Because I've got neither of your thoughts this week, so you might as well tell me.
We've just been discussing Lewis Travis, haven't we, Colin? We think
certainly have.
Colin's theory is that we'll end up signing him. Why would Blackburn give away their captain? Makes sense to me. And maybe a long-term Moolsey replacement, given Moolsey's age, potentially. This guy's only 26, isn't he?
Yeah. Good possibility there with that one. We've got lots of people in the chat saying, "Where's our invite, Colin, to Sunday lunch?" So Mike the Fisherman being one of them. Not mine. Mike the Fisherman.
Martin, hold on. I've told you on more than one occasion. I told Matt today, you are more than welcome to Hamburg Towers whenever you wish.
Yeah,
He doesn't mix well. He doesn't mix well with people.
Well,
That
we
would've-
know that, Rich. We know that, Rich, my old friend. We know that very well.
That
But
would
can I
involve
go
me
on
leaving the
about
house.
yesterday's game?
Yes, go
I
for it.
thought-
Close the
Why are you
show.
not in the shed, by the way? Why are you not broadcasting from the iconic shed?
We're still
That's a-
sat at the dinner table.
That's
aren't
that's a little bit cold out there today.
Come on, get out there. Get out there.
Oi. What I was going to say, yesterday, I totally agree with what Rich put yesterday. In fact, I'll put it in the chat. Very professional performance. Thought it was very good. At the end of the day, 105 grand in the bin. 105 grand in the bank of Ipswich Town. On we go. Fourth round. I don't know what the fourth round's worth. 150k, something like that. Draw Maidstone at home. Nice little earner. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
And go on from there. Go on from there, boys. So I look at it, Rich.
Ball number 11, Colin, tomorrow night.
What's that, mate?
Ball number 11, Town.
Ball number 11.
Brian Desmond.
Clive
Brian Desmond says in the chat here, what's for dessert?
we? We've had it.
Oh, we've had that Pavlova.
Raspberry.
Oh, look at the gun. Look at the gun. man.
I'm
Look
with
at the
Gov
gun.
on that
We
one.
did.
I
We
wouldn't
did.
be having a Pavlova after it. I'd like a nice crumble.
We've had flan.
Matt, talk to Rich. Talk to Rich because Matt obviously, Martin obviously
Bloody
doesn't.
hell, your hand looks massive.
Talk to Rich about the Pavlova.
Pavlova was good.
Raspberry Pavlova.
Little bit
Rich.
of cream.
Did you have a
Oh,
starter, Matt? Did you have a starter?
No, we went straight in. Chateau Plum. Very good, wasn't it?
Oh,
Colin?
yeah. Well,
Perfect. Right.
Matt was so late. We had the dinner on the table straight away. So
How long were you? What sort of time did you get there?
I was supposed to be there at 12. It was about 12:40 in the end, wasn't it? So I'm gonna
You're on Lambert time. You're on Lambert time.
stay later.
Lambert time.
Jesus Christ.
If I turn up that time, your dinner's with the
Rich.
dog.
By the way, who was your man of the match yesterday, Rich?
Luke Wolfenden.
I thought Twan Zabi had a good game.
Yeah, I thought he played well. But
Baldhead was back to his best, I thought, albeit against League Two side. But
can we just get quickly Colin's thoughts on Sonny Aluko, please?
Absolutely awful. I think that's the last game he'll ever play for Town.
He couldn't keep his laces
look,
done up, Colin.
look.
He couldn't keep his laces done up.
Rich, can I just say, Rich, I'd love to say this to you and Martin. I've loved Sonny Aluko, as you know. He's a bit
We know.
No, been a great player for the club. Good player for the club. But his time has come. Like I texted you yesterday, don't I, Rich? He was.
Would you deregister him now, Colin, from the 25
Yes,
for the second half of the season?
Without being nasty, he was an embarrassment to himself yesterday, and I don't want that. Like I said to Matt earlier, it's like a boxer. Matt loves his boxing, Martin. And it's like a boxer who goes in the ring when he shouldn't be in that ring. And Aluko shouldn't be on the pitch anymore.
All
I'm
right.
sorry. Sonny has been a great player, but his time's up.
Well, it's your opinion. It's your opinion, Colin. I'm probably with you in the sense of a Town shirt, certainly, but it's your opinion. Matt, anything else before I let you both go back and enjoy the rest of the Pavlova?
Can you put is it Kel Anderson's comment on? Nice to watch drunken people.
ain't that drunk? I've got to drive home.
Colin's had the whole barrel full.
No, nothing to add. Thank you, Colin, for a lovely invite.
That's
and we've had
lovely of you, Matt.
a nice
And
meal.
Martin, you're more than welcome whenever
Thank you
wish.
very much. I'll check my diary.
Listen to the person who doesn't like people.
Oh dear.
Right, boys,
you,
all the best.
Are you at the game on Saturday, Martin? Are you at the game?
No, probably not.
You have to wait for your Christmas present. I've still got it. Still got your Christmas present.
Have you got
Yes.
one? Have you got one? I didn't. I was wondering actually. If it was
Well,
next
you
season
weren't.
or
You
not,
haven't.
but-
You haven't been there, have you? So I've.
No. It was my daughter's first birthday on Friday, so I think we're having a little shindig on Saturday
Shindig.
afternoon.
When's the next home game? So Rotherham's cancelled. So that's FA Cup. So that'll be a midweek. So we could be home then, or I think it's. Then we'll go to Preston and we start February. Yeah. So you might have to wait till February for your. I'll give it to you for Valentine's Day.
Oh, thank you very much. That's so kind of you. I might pick the game Sunderland. I haven't decided yet. I haven't had the authorization.
Big game in it, Saturday. Big game for Town, I think, in the context of our season of. Look, we've not been in bad form. We just.
No, if it was, I'd be there instantly. Come on, I'd drive to your house to get it. That'd be great.
It's we haven't been in bad form. We just haven't won the games, have we? Over Christmas, it was just them draws. We probably should have beaten Norwich. Should have beaten. If we'd have beaten QPR and Norwich, I think everyone would sit a little bit easier. But I think Sunderland's it's a good fixture. They're a good side. Obviously, they've got a new manager. Interesting to see Jack Clark because I like him. I think he's one of the best players in the league. But they struggle. They haven't got a centre forward, Martin. So it might be two teams playing who haven't got a number 9 on the pitch. So it might be the best case of whoever plays that role, the best might win the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll be back on Wednesday, 8 p.m, previewing it. So do join us then. Hopefully have somebody from Sunderland on as we normally do. That would be absolutely brilliant. But until then, this has been Talking Town. Apologies for the last segment. It was a good idea. But then they turned up. They turned up full of pavlova and roast beef, and they were absolutely...
I'm not a fan. I like a roast. But I'm not a fan of a pavlova after a roast. It's got to be a crumble with custard.
You know what? In the absence of flan, I've really found cheesecake again. Just to put that out there.
Oh, yeah, I like cheesecake.
I've really rediscovered cheesecake. My love of cheesecake has gone through the roof. It's tremendous dessert, to be fair.
So are you going flan next Christmas?
I will try to, but if not, cheesecake.
Get prepared early. Get your flan cases in.
But if not,
probably back in the shops as we speak with the Easter eggs.
No, I've still not seen them, but yes, Easter eggs certainly are. Anyway, like, subscribe, all of that business. Comment for the algorithm if you're watching on Catch Up. Thank you for your wonderful comments throughout the show. We're back, as I say, on Wednesday, 8 p.m. And this is a signing. There's a signing.
Who do you want? Who do you want in the draw? Quickly, Gov. Who do you want? Do you want a winnable tie or a big?
No, a top 6 side at home, or away. But I think a top 6 side they'll put us on the TV, and I think it'll be a good measuring, measuring stick in terms of our ability. Yeah. I'm not saying we're going to win, and I'm not saying we're going to go toe to toe with an Arsenal, for example. But it'd be good to see. Because I think McKenna would take it seriously, as he has done previous cup ties, unlike other managers, perhaps.
He did yesterday, didn't he? Quickly, before we go. I was quite surprised how strong we went. But then I look at who we've got available, and I think he probably had to do that yesterday. Yeah. Lee Anderson, Flansbury 70s, and Brian Desmond United at home.
Wow. Villa at home, says Roy. That'd be a good tie.
They've got to beat Wigan first, United. Villa would be a very good tie. He's doing very well there, Unai Emery. So
he is doing very well. Yeah. But there we go. Wait and see. We are ball number 11 tomorrow, so do enjoy it before the Bolton.
No, Wigan, Manchester United.
Apologies. Wigan, Manchester United games. Do keep your eyes out for that. But thank you for watching, and we'll see you Wednesday, 8 p.m. All the best. You make me smile when I think of you. If I get down low and I get blue. Crazy from just the thought of you.